Okay, we're back, and this is part 2 of fitting a piece of kill cut using a PVC pipe with just a hollow piece of gas cap on it, no lead or nothing, super light. Pressure flake me some isolated platforms right in here, and I'm going to hit and try to get these little crevices out of this rock. Took a thin flake off all the way across and moved every one of those crevices. Again, none to move down there, but they all gone. Now, I pressure flaked that side, I'm pressure flake this side. I cut the camera off while I built those pressure flakes up to kind of make it run faster, but I'll go okay now. And these platforms don't look like they're isolated, but they are, not a lot. But as I go through here, I kind of move a little material around them. Once I pull them where I want them, once I pull them up and get them in the position that I want them in. Like this one right here, you can see how it's sticking out this way. It's a little too much, so I'm gonna raise it up some. Now I'm gonna turn it over and look at it and see what that looks like. Well, that looks real good. And then I got one right here that's kind of isolated. I'm making another one right in here. Okay, that ought to do those. Nice one. Nice one. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but when I start getting my final thinning stage on points, I hold them. I don't put them on my pad. I hold them up like this, and I put the end of my finger right there, because you can hit your finger blindfolded. I mean, you know where the end of your finger is, so if I put it close to that edge, I'm increasing my odds of hitting the edge and not hitting too high up above it. So it's like I'm striking for the tip of my finger. I put it just about where I want it and drive that flake off. So I guess everybody has their way of doing it. Years ago I didn't do that. Like I say, I wasn't shaking as much, and my accuracy was a little better. I quit flintknapping for a long time and got back in it. And when I got back in it, I was getting pretty old, and old age does some horrible things to you. Better than dying, though. I don't know about that. Ain't never died and seen what it's like. If it's like my beliefs, I think we'd all want to go there. See what heaven's like. If you believe in that way. Okay. Once again, I pressure flaked me a platform to turn it over to remove some stuff off the other side. And once again, I look at it and I see I need to raise it up some right in here, and I'm kind of isolating little platforms as I go. They're not real, just sticking out like a sore thumb isolation, but they're there. One of them right here, kind of pushing down between it. There's been another one right here. Okay, let's see what we got now. Now then, this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold it right here. I'm going to go right in the middle. That was my biggest hump, my best platform. That's the next one. Next one. I really don't. I'm going to go ahead. I don't need to move too much off here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. That turned out good. Alright, now when I turn it over, the other side's still real flat, so I'm going to come back and take a little more off of this side. I didn't make my platforms real steep. I want to take little small thin pieces off. But this one wasn't quite deep enough. I should have made a little thicker off on this side. I'm going to come back and make me another thin platform. Okay, here we go. Am I looking? Got a bad spot right here. Where's it at? I see it right there. Don't want to go. It's a tough little booger. Come on, there it went. Put a little more elbow grease behind it. Alrighty. Once again, I'm gonna put my finger right here on the edge. Run that flake across. Look how thin it's getting on that side. I don't know if you can see how thin that is or not. Now I'm gonna move on down. Put my finger on the edge. Put my finger on the edge. Put my finger on the edge. Now, this last one didn't do too good. It chipped out in there, and I did not. I thought I had it ground there, but I didn't. I guess it was a little low, and when my grinding rock went by, it didn't hit it. I thought I took my time and made sure I had all the areas ground. I mean, it's real great. It just didn't move the mass I wanted it to. I want to take a little more out. Nothing wrong with it. Didn't cause no problems. Except I got to go back and do it again. Remove a little more. Let's see. It's right in here. Okay. Make sure I got it good grounded edge then. There we go. Come right out. So this is getting pretty thin. When you have a wavy edge, it's kind of hard to tell how thin something is. But I'm gonna thin this tip right here. We're gonna go with it and see how far we can go without breaking it. Just see how thin we can get it. Really need to be using a finer braiding stone when you start getting a thin edge like this. It seems to make it stronger. Okay, move that plate now and come right on the tip of the point. Move one right off the tip. Well, that's pretty good on that side. Now if I can come back and meet it, it'll be nice. Exactly what I wanted to do without breaking it. I don't use my finer thread braider. Need to go to a smaller billet. See the difference? I should have already done that. I'm thinking about the video and explaining what I'm doing, and I didn't do it. It should run them all the way across. It's a smaller billet than it did. Have to be careful not to overshoot the other side. I'm gonna thin this base some. It's probably best not to do what I'm doing, but since it's a video, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because you can get away with it sometimes. It's according to how much material you got and how excited you are about your point. But I'm gonna thin the base this way, and you got to kind of have your finger on there. You got to have the right angle, and don't hit it hard. You just got to make a light tap like that right there. Look at those two master flakes. I moved off that base, and I'm gonna come down on the end, do the ends last. So I got this base pretty thin. Raise the edge up so you can kind of get a look at it. Kind of see how thin that base is. So now then I'm going to kind of stud it a little bit. Look down it. Some hairs right in here again. I need to get a little tougher on this side. I tried to lower it 3 different times. I never got it lower as the other side. You gotta be careful though, that's all right. I mean, you don't want to try to move too much at one time or you definitely will break it. And also a word of caution, sometimes when I get a point extremely thin, this big hollow cavity in here, I'll be trying to do just exactly what I'm doing now. Make a little isolated platform, roll the edge up, and I'm gripping real tight here, and I push down real hard, and it'll snap that point right in the middle. You don't want to do that after you put all that work into it. I'd rather have it up there on a flat surface, get off that hollow edge. Okay, let's see what we get out of this one. My finger's situated just right. Still scared I don't break it. This is what I call, a lot of flint knappers do, yellow wrist. You chicken out, your wrist gets yellow. Swinging here, you start missing because you're afraid you're gonna hit too high up, like this. But if it's a big old thick preform, you'd be swinging down from left field and it didn't matter, and you would hit it. Because you're worried about breaking it, and you get nervous, and you know if you hit too high in the wrong spot, you're gonna break it. You start missing a lot. I'm gonna set this platform up one more time, try to move some more off the base here. Not quite happy with the thickness of the base. Try to come right in here with it. I kind of lost my fear and knocked the skew out of it that time, and I got just exactly what I wanted. I'm going to take the waves out of this point and see how thin it's getting. And what I mean waves is that snake-like edge where it goes back and forth to right and left like a snake crawling. You can look down it and kind of get an idea how straight and thin it is once you remove that. Get it on this side now. Gotta wipe a little sweat off my face. Pretty hot in here, even though it is about the end of the month. October, I sure hope everybody gets out and vote, man. This is, to me, one of the most important elections we'll ever have in the history of the United States. That's my opinion. You vote however you feel led to. It's your pick, your freedom too, but we need to vote. I'm gonna make these edges a little, isolate some platform better than what I got them. And I'll do that. Got to use my finer braider I picked up at Ruffler. Okay. We move this edge right here. I'm going down, take another one. Move it. Take another one. I didn't isolate one down here. I thought I did. I'm going to try to hit it anyway. Save the time from going back. Now we're going to do this side here. It's a little high, little lopsided, a little turtle back hold. About halfway down to the tip here on this side. We move with no problem at all as long as we hit where we're aiming and got a platform, okay? This is where putting your finger under here comes important. There we go, that's the one I was looking for. That's a real nice one. Let me see if I can get it back in place. Right there. Come off, took that out. I do this, I don't recommend it unless you've been napping a while. I mean, you've been napping several years, no problem with it. I'm talking about beginners. I like to thin my tip with percussion. I hate pressure flaking, I hate building these platforms up. I hate this tool, period. I always have, and I don't know why. I just want to swing back and hit everything with a billet. I love busting rock. I'd made a good rock pile prisoner back in the old days when they put them in the rock pile, break the rocks up. I'd been in hog heaven. I'd had that job. But you gotta pressure flake them to get your platforms right and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna come in here now. Instead of hitting this way, I'm gonna hit this way on the edge of this billet and try to thin this point. There we go. That's the little piece that come off of it right there. And man, you can thin that son on if you can get it just right. Okay, now I'm gonna pressure flake this little platform I didn't use. I got a little isolated platform here I didn't use. I'm gonna kind of pressure flake off of it. I don't want to run very far. You're trying to get the waves out of this now, and I have to pressure flake it to do this. And get it straight. Just about there. And a little bit on this side. That's a pretty straight edge to me. You know, the only time I've hurt myself flintknapping pretty bad is pressure flaking. Now, I've had big rocks in my hand in Texas down the creek and hit it and piece go off and had to have stitches in my leg or something where it drives through the calf of my leg down there around my shin. But pressure flaking's where most of my major cuts come from. It'd be from the slipping off this edge and driving your hand into it. If you pressure flake, you don't want to know about. Or a break. I'm having a break on my boy, and that was. I've got scars all up and down through on my hand. Look at them from doing this. Having a break. Now this baby's real thin, and I'm gonna take a sure enough chance on this. I'm gonna try to thin this base off at the end. Like a flute. It's not gonna be a flute, but like if you're gonna flute it, I'm gonna try to run it that far. I got a little high ridge going across this base here, and I would like to get it out. And the best way, if it'll come out without breaking it, is coming straight off the end here. Trying to make all sure these little platforms okay. Spend a lot of time on them. Look at it. This one's all right and this one's not. Let me look on this one some. There we go. Now then. All right, here we go. We'll use this little bitty billet again. I'm gonna hit straight in. Just lightly tap. That went good. Boy, it went real good. That's okay. That one's okay. This would make a pretty pine tree. Looking for my tape measure. I usually have a tape measure laying around here. I didn't even think about it. I'll just go show you how wide it is. Pretty wide, I'd say 2 inches wide. And I could run more rolled flakes down and thin it some more, but I'd have to be extremely careful. So guess what? Let's go for it. I got the time, you got the time. Let's see what's gonna happen. Alrighty, I got a continuous platform with little isolated spots going down it. Alright, it goes to breaking. We're gonna break it on this one, I guarantee you. Want a nice flake. Another nice flake. That wasn't so good. The low spot there, I see what happened. I didn't grind on them. Try to come back and hit this higher spot and it'd probably break it where I messed that one up. Nope. Did good. Did good. Did good. Alright. Run completely down that side, so let's go back on this side and see if we can meet up with them in the middle or somewhere close to the middle. high areas, I took that Russell braid and got them down, saved me having the pressure plate. Let me see how that turned out. And some of it did all right, it still wasn't what I wanted. Okay, I should really go back and pressure plate this again, but I'm not. This is a bad spot here. I should have re-pressure plate. Nothing happened. Man, I got away with it. Got away with that. I don't know if you can see how my hand's doing that. What I'm talking about shaking, it goes this way. Try to run this plate this way, where that other one messed up where I didn't grind it. I had a spot that was low and it wasn't ground. I'm just sitting there doing this while I'm talking to you. Man, I got 90% of it out. Can't believe I got that lucky. I'm going to come back from the other side. I'm going to show you what I'm trying to do. Normally I would leave it in there, wouldn't pay any mind to it with a point like this. Make a Christmas tree or a pine tree, whatever you call them. I like to call them Christmas trees, they're really called pine trees. But make all kind of different points out of this. I'm going to come back over this side. And I got to run them over halfway across to do what I want to do. And if this thing be this thin, that's a pretty good block. Got to rear back from left field and hit it with that little billet. If I had a smaller billet, it probably would do better. That's the smallest one I got right there. I had a small one, but wore it out. I got to get me a little cap for it. Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not, but right here it's kind of like a hinge. It goes in here and hinges right in here. It's a little hump. I hope I hadn't lost you. I didn't realize my phone had dropped. Hold on a minute, I'm trying to ease it back up. Keep everything in perspective there. There we go. There's a couple little, it's hard to see it with this white rock. It's a little high spot right there, and it's a hinge from this side and a little hinge from this side. So I'm gonna have to hit it pretty hard over here and try to go through that hinge. That's probably where, if it's gonna break, this will be the time it'll break. All right, I got a little high spot I don't want to hit, so I'm gonna have to pressure flake it out. It's right in here. Sorry about that phone moving. I didn't realize I wasn't looking up at it. Still not like the way I want it. I have a feeling this is where it's going to break at. Man, I took something out of there, half of it. Once this other part will do it. Man, that's going to be nice. Got lucky on the first blow. Wow. One more. I'm gonna come back on the other side. Y'all hold your breath for me. Everybody cross your fingers and hold your breath. I got so much sweat in my eye. That fan's so loud, I have to turn it off. I got sweat pouring all down in my eye. Okay, right here. Holy moly. I got 80% of it out. I'm gonna do one more thing and we're gonna break this joker or kiss it goodnight. We'll try to flute the rest of it out. Come off the top. I'm trying to save the width on it. I'm gonna come back from the other way. This thing's incredibly good as far as everything else, but just one little spot, I mean. All right, there's a spot right there. I can pressure flake that out. I don't even know what I'm thinking about. I can definitely pressure flake it out and come right through the pressure flake. But anyway, I hope you enjoy watching it, and hope it helps you learn how to use your ridges and set your platforms up.